Hey guys, what's up? Nico again here. And in today's 3D Printed Profits episode, I have with us Dan. Dan, where are you coming from, man?
Hey, I'm in Conifer, Colorado, just west of Denver.
Colorado.
Yeah.
So, Dan had made this really cool item for your Peloton, right? And he's sold quite a few of these things. And he's just going to talk to us about the design, how he got to it, the problem he was trying to solve. But before we get to that, make sure you guys join us in the 3D Printing Side Hustle group. The link for that is in the description below. It's all on Facebook, and make sure you guys like and subscribe. So, Dan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, man. So let's start with your background here. This is a side hustle, obviously. So
Yes.
what is your main hustle? What is it that you do currently?
I'm in a leadership position in a call center job, like customer service center type of job, and I work from home. And I've been doing that for a long time, like over 20 years.
Okay. All right. How you like it?
I like it. I started tinkering in 3D printing because I lacked the kind of the tactile, put my hands on the product kind of thing, because I am sort of an engineer and a tinkerer at heart. So that's why I started doing 3D printing, to give me some more hands-on stuff where I can actually design things and then hold it in my hand versus virtual concepts.
It's so amazing, right? Like it goes from your head to a digital, file, right? That if you design it yourself, and the next thing you know, it's physically in your hand. It's like, it's the purest form of manifestation.
It is. It's
right?
Great. Yeah, it is good.
So let's go dive into the 3D printing part here a little bit. What was your first machine and how did you get into it? Like, how did you discover it?
Well, the first machine, it's funny, the getting into it was, I have this exercise bike and it's not a Peloton. It's actually a knockoff Peloton. People call it a Foleton. And you can do Peloton classes with their app with a regular bike that's not a Peloton bike. So a $200 bike, $300 bike. And I started using it, but I realized really quickly the thing that I was missing, and everybody else had the same problem, and I didn't realize, is not knowing how much resistance I was putting into the knob. You spin the knob to the right, it gets harder. You spin it to the left, it gets easier.
So there was no quantitative value.
Yeah, feedback. Exactly. Like just driving a car with no speedometer, right? So, and the Peloton instructors say do 20%, 30%. So what I did was I created a simple device. And actually the first one, which is around here somewhere, was made out of cardboard. And it worked, but my wife made fun of it every day about how horrible it looked. So I said, well, how hard could it be to 3D print? I've never 3D printed. I know, it is mean. So I went on to Tinkercad, started playing around, and I came up with this 3-piece unit. It has a mount that goes to the bike. The disc goes in with a rubber band on it. And then there's a post that goes in the middle. And then this rubber band goes around the resistance knob. And as you can calibrate it to whatever 0 is to you, and then whatever 20% is to you, 30%, it has a little indicator and numbers. And I named it R pedal. And I started using it. It's like, dang, this is good. So I got an Ender 3 basic. I think it was like less than $200.
Yeah, it's like $180.
Yes. I started playing around with the Ender 3. This was all last April. I designed the first version of this in Tinkercad. And it was not great. It was multiple parts. It had to be glued together with airplane glue and stuff because I didn't know that much about 3D printing and how everything comes up from a flat base, 45 degrees without supports and that kind of thing. But it works so well. My wife was so impressed. She's like, yeah, let's throw it on Etsy just to see if anybody's interested. And it kind of blew up. The first week, everybody started noticing it that had this same problem. So I was not alone. I had the same. I detected something that affected everybody doing this during COVID, getting a cheap bike, doing Peloton classes. So it was lucky.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
So
that's the origin of it. Was just a need.
That is pretty awesome, man.
Thanks.
So how much is the business making per month now?
Well, it depends on the month. So it's very seasonal. You can imagine it's a fitness related product. So I get
January.
November, December, January blew up. January was nuts. But I've sold 1,400 of these things, and it's been about a year and 4 months. In a year and 4 months, 1,400 units. And that's not really describing all the work that went in. I mean, there's tons of work with talking with customers and answering questions and helping with install and all that kind of stuff, which, obviously I had to create instructions and all that stuff. But basically last year I made about $8,000 on sales of $21,000. And then I spent a lot of that. I spent most of that because I have another invention I was working on that I was trying to get a patent completed on.
Mm.
And then I started talking to a patent attorney about this because I have a little bit of experience with that from the other product. And I did some trips, some travel to try to promote the other product that I created. So I spent most of that on legal and attorneys and stuff. This year, I'm in a little bit better position. I still spent a lot. But there's other stuff you do. If you do something like this and you're going to send it.
You're reinvesting the profits back into something
Yes.
to make it bigger, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
you're not really spending it, right?
That's true. Absolutely true.
A lot of people
Yeah,
are saying, "Oh,
otherwise, if I
I
kept
spent
it-
this money." Like, no, you're investing it.
That's true. That's true.
Some
Otherwise,
people
I'd have income tax on it if I didn't do that. So
Yeah, so some people will call it gambling. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you're putting your money where your mouth is. You're trying to build
Correct.
something and you're trying to grow something. Just because
Correct.
you pick your profits and try to and put it back into the business doesn't mean you're
Yeah.
spending it.
that's true.
Right.
Good point. That's exactly right. Yes.
You don't
So-
grow if you don't put money back into the business.
Yeah, that's right. So on a monthly basis, I think the average deposit from Etsy, it's $1,400, $1,500, maybe a little bit more.
That's not a bad
It's not bad.
return on investment on $180. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, of course, now I have 5 Enders running. I stuck with Enders because I know them. And I have Ender 3s. I bought one Ender 2, which actually ended up being a pretty good machine. It's a little tiny machine. And it works pretty good because my parts are tiny, right? They all fit on a, like these are all fit on a 50 millimeter or 100 millimeter plate, not a 200.
Mhm.
And then I got a Pro just to see how that was. And I got the Pro Ender 3. But most of my machines are the basic Ender 3. So depending on the day, 4 out of 5 are running because there's always something, there's always something.
Oh,
There's a
there
fan
is
with-
always something, dude.
There's a fan with a missing blade or whatever. It's so funny how that works. And then they tend to break down right when you're busy. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, I really like it. I was
What,
gonna
I
say
think,
the
I think is that called Murphy's Law?
It
If
is.
something's going to happen, it's going to.
It is. But I want
That's
to
the
tell you, the
worst
other thing
time.
was when I first launched social media, people said, "Oh, this guy created this thing. Check it out," and put it into a Facebook page for people doing the Peloton app. But I was inspired to get this bike from a guy that did YouTube videos called the Outside Chronicles. His name is Mike. And I thought just for grins, I'd contact him and he replied to his YouTube channel. So can I send you one and just see if you like it? I want to get your feedback because you're the inspiration for me getting this bike. I have a bike by Sonny and he got one. And was really lucky. This guy is so awesome. He has a great following on YouTube. And he did a review of it without me even asking and posted it. And I still get sales from his video review today.
That's so awesome, dude.
Oh, it's so great. So I definitely encourage people, you're doing something like this, if it has an audience that applies, that's applicable out there on YouTube, try to get someone to do that. Because that was, amazing. I ended up sending like some gift certificates for outdoors type stores because I was like so grateful. It's amazing.
Awesome, bro. That's really good. I'm really
Yes.
happy for you, man.
Thank you. Yeah, so
That's
now I have a
great.
it's like a side business while I'm doing my day job. I get up in the morning, I start the printers. I have a process I have to put together some parts for installation and a series. I have all the instructions for the different models up here. So I package them and then my wife goes to work in a physical brick and mortar location. So she mails them on the way. So we have this whole thing down where we just kind of have this going on the side during our life. And it's nice. Like if you end up in January, if you got some credit card debt, you can pay it off with the sales from it. And I'm trying to save some money. I've got a daughter that's having a baby and saving some money up for her. So it's very nice. It's fun. And it's fun for me to interact with customers. I got like 4 messages today from people. Will it work with this kind of bike? Will it work with that kind of bike? And that's fun for me to try to solve those problems. It's actually been tested on 52 models of bikes, maybe 53.
And does it work?
It works. It's awesome. 'cause
Good.
it's so
I'm
simple.
trying to think
yeah.
why it wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Because
Any bike-
the
any
variable
bike-
is the length of the rubber band. If the rubber band is
Correct.
long enough, depending on how far the tension is, right?
Yes, you're right. Yeah. So any bike has to have a post under the resistance knob, like this pen, about 10 millimeters. And I've actually found situations where the bike has like a 30 millimeter post. I can still deal with it depending on how many turns it takes. Because the math is pretty simple. 10 millimeter post and 7 turns means this guy has to be 70 millimeters. So it's pretty simple. I actually created a gear reduction drive version that has 3 levels of the box. And there's a gear reduction of 2 to 1 in the middle. So that was kind of fun to solve for. So that I get some, I
Look
get
at you doing some engineering
satisfaction.
stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. Like my brother's actually an engineer. I'm not scholastically an engineer by education, but I still like to do enough. Like I like to do it enough where I'll mess with it. But it's good. Yeah. So I got 5 machines and 3 parts per unit, and I sold 1,400 units. So I mean, just doing the math, thousands of parts, right?
Mhm.
And it's just patience and maintaining the machines. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot just by talking to folks like you, talking to people on Facebook about, how do I solve this problem with this machine? And of course, the enders are just so simple. You can pretty much fix anything, replace any part.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So are those products now, are they separated in separate pieces and then you put them together? Because
Yeah.
they're in different
Yeah,
colors.
3 pieces. Yep.
And that's
So
it.
I make this one out of gray.
How do you get the black on the numbers? Do you
Well, so that's one of my post-production steps I haven't figured out how to get rid of is the visibility of the numbers. I basically just use a big fat
Sharpie, right? Yep.
marker, and it's like a chisel tip. And so you just got to be careful, man, because if you get it all over the rest, it looks bad. But this is pretty decent. I actually have raised numbers and raised markers,
Dots,
so
yep.
5 markers and a number. And then at first I was sending them out like this, and people had to turn the lights on to see the number because it's just red on red. So I started out by asking customers. I added a variation in Etsy with the numbers black or red. Everybody asked for black because it was too hard to see. So I just do that now as part of post-production. But I figured out how to print it in one piece now. So I have a beveled, like the pulley itself used to be like a U shape. Now it's got a flat base, which is about 5 millimeters or so, or a little bit more. And then it goes out at a 45. And that way I can print it in one piece. It just comes out off the printer bed, just like this. And it still is a pulley, except for it's a pulley with the angle there. And then these little guys print super quick, just the peg that goes in the middle. So yeah, I have to do 3 parts per unit.
Okay.
So in January, I sold like 240 of these things in 4 weeks. I was crushed. I was so busy.
That's a good crush.
It's a good problem. But I was going to say for your viewers, it's a good thing to do. Just I put a note into like a community bulletin board, like next door. Said, anybody got a 3D printer, want to make some money? And I got a great response, and I actually met some really cool people here with 3D printers that were wanting to do that. And so I got some help locally with production just by saying, I'll give you, whatever, $5 a part or whatever. So that was fun because now I have a friend that 3D prints here in the neighborhood, which is kind of fun. So that was another way of kind of dealing with that was a horrible challenge. I was freaked out.
The image that came into my head was from Step Brothers. Did we just become best friends?
Yes, exactly. Literally, exactly right. And actually, it was fun. It was just really fun. His son was into it. His son ran his printer night and day to make parts, and it was really fun.
That's funny.
And actually, it turns out he knows a lot about CAD design with like real CAD software. So we gave you some feedback on this because literally, I'm just using Tinkercad, which people laugh, they make fun of you, but I mean it gets the job done.
Tinkercad is plenty powerful.
Yeah, it is. I'm making all this money with just items that I created out there, and I'm looking at other software. I mean, you want to get into different things, but it's
Blender. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Blender's
good.
Blender's great.
That's awesome.
I know a guy who teaches Blender.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's what I'll do. I'm writing that down. Yeah.
Shameless plug. I don't care. It's my show.
I love it. I need that because there's things you can. My friend who uses this, it's like $5,000 a license, whatever he's using, and he was showing me how it can figure things out that I would have to do on my own, when I'm doing a design modification. So yeah, it was great. So I think that's a big for folks that are interested in doing this. Asking for help is a good tactic. Just don't be too.
It is. Asking for help is a. I think it's because people think that if you ask for help, you're weak.
Yeah.
Right. But no, it's not that I'm weak. It's that you just need help.
That's right, man. Yeah, that's right.
I need help all the time. That's
exactly.
why I have teams.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. Yeah. And also there's Facebook pages for, Ender 3 users and 3D printing in general. And then on Thingiverse, there's forums. I've used that a lot too. Thingiverse, you can go get designs, but the forums are real helpful. People that have used the Enders are in a forum.
Yeah. So how many machines do you have now?
I have 5.
You have 5. Okay. And
Uh-huh.
what machines are these?
One is an Ender 2. Let's see, 4 of them are Ender 3. One of those is not really working and it's in parts. And then I also have the Ender 3 Pro. So the other ones are Ender 3 Basic, just the basic, the one that goes on sale and you get it for a good deal. And I've upgraded most of them with a lot of things like definitely replace the tensioner. The plastic parts on the tensioner always break. So I have metal tensioners and then some Capricorn tubing for, PTFT tubing. And then the nozzles, I was talking to you about nozzles, 0.4, 0.6, and just always keeping up with that stuff is important. I put some noise, what do you call them, smoothers, the noise cancelers on them. I found they aren't really necessary for all the machines. I mean, I get pretty smooth results. Most of it has to do with your settings, your slicer. But that's it. Most other than that, they're not really highly modified. They're basic Ender machines pretty much.
A lot of these machines come stock that print well. I don't understand.
Yeah.
The big upgrade,
Yeah.
crave. Like,
Well, it depends. If I didn't have anything else to do, I'd probably be more interested in that. But I'm
I mean,
busy.
so I it wasn't until just this year that I started upgrading.
Yeah.
Like that one up there has a Bondtech direct drive extruder. Okay, now that
That's good.
it is nice.
So I do have one direct drive.
It's
because
nice
I had to start printing in
with an all metal aluminum hot end. Like there's not the all metal hot end.
uh-huh.
It's nice, bro. Like it's my best machine by far.
The only reason I got into the direct drive and I like it is because I was doing TPU, the flexible filament, and it really doesn't like to go down the Bowden tube. So I have the direct drive because it just pushes it right into the hot end. Because some bikes require some parts that are flexible, and I still haven't put them to market yet. I'm still trying to get it right, but I'm having fun learning how to print with TPU because you can flex it. I don't have one here.
The TPU is fun.
Yes.
TPU is fun to print with, man.
Yep. It's nice.
All right. So back to the interview here.
Yep.
Have you tried to do anything that's going to increase sales, like ads or anything like that?
So much, man. So much. So Etsy is good. If I can put a plug in for them, because they take care of a lot of stuff. Now they take a share, which kind of hurts, if you look at the fees they take out, but they handle all the taxes and all that stuff. They also do advertising. So you can sign up for Etsy advertising. And if you get a sale through their advertising, they hit you for their fee. It's a couple of bucks, I actually this year, because it got really slow, I have this strong seasonality. I'm trying to figure out how can I make it not so slow from March to like November.
You'd have to put out another product.
Well, I am working on that. I mean, I have some other stuff. This is another little thing I created, another thing out of necessity. If you're carrying groceries, you don't want to make more than, you don't want to make a bunch of trips. This is a Bagtopus. So it looks like an octopus, but it has hooks, and you can hook these on your grocery bags and bring them in. And this guy started off as a hand weight holder on an exercise bike. So it was go over the bike.
Now, are those hooks not going to snap? Have you?
No, they're pretty strong. They'll snap if you step on them or if you throw it, but they handle. I put a ton of infill in these guys so that they're strong. So if you're carrying a bag with like a bunch of cans of soup or whatever, it hangs in there.
I think that would be best as a prototype, and then you would like mold that.
Yeah, well, that's probably true of all this stuff, man. I'm looking at injection molding to try to figure out, now that I got some volumes on this guy, if I were to put it on Amazon, I'd probably sell 5 times as much, but I'm afraid to do that because I don't have the capacity. So this guy is similar, and I'm learning about injection molding. He might be kind of tough to do because he has some points that might get caught in the mold. We have to figure that out. But I've got this guy out there. I've got a few more products. I was on an airplane flight and I couldn't hold my phone. There's no place to hold my phone. So I created this guy. He's an adjustable holder that goes over the table that goes up on the seat in front of you. And then you can prop up different angles and put your phone on it. And then your phone's just looking at you while you're flying, So this guy's out there too. But what I was leading to is I did do Facebook marketing, just talking to local marketing experts here. They said that's the way to go. And it is pretty cool. I did a lot of experimentation in the last 3 months with Facebook marketing, and it works. I can see a pretty steady increase in my visits, huge increase in visits.
Yeah, but visits don't pay the bills, right?
Exactly.
I mean, Revenue can be
conversion
really
rate.
high, but how much of that revenue is profit? Like, are you just in the black? Are you breaking even? Are you making a
It's
profit?
it's slight positive, I think. It's expensive, and the problem is there's a lot of learning curve when you're doing it yourself. If you pay somebody, obviously it's more expensive, but they know what to do with the targeting and the geographic locations and the wording and everything. But it's pretty good. I will utilize it. Although now my sales have picked up a little bit. Last month my sales were much higher, and it could have been related to Facebook. I mean, that's how it works, right? You get yourself out higher in the Google rankings. And in fact, with my product, if you search spin bike resistance gauge, I'm number 1 through 3 in the Google returns.
Nice.
That's great. I know it's great, but that's mainly due to Etsy, I think. Honestly, I think that's due to their efforts and their promotion. Because
But
I'm
do
on
you have your own
also,
website too, or is this all is it all on Etsy?
it's all on Etsy. I'm trying to figure out, I bought the domains for the sites that I want to use. My other product, which is called Safe Alert Monitor, I have a website, safealertmonitor.com. I don't have an R pedal site yet for this guy. I don't have like I'm trying to figure out what to do next as far as that. I'm looking at maybe just building my own, maybe using, an e-commerce type site that will help you with building it yourself. I have talking to a local web developer too, so I haven't decided which way I'm going to go. It's just I don't want to spend all the profits and then some to try to just have a website, because I'm doing pretty good with Etsy. But I would like to break free of that at some point, because their fees are higher. They take quite a bit, and the shipping comes out of the, you add shipping to it as well, because a product like this, because it's physical, you have to ship it. But yeah, that's my goal next, is try to figure out some volume ways of being able to be more scalable. I'm actually building a DIY injection molding machine right now, based on, there's a guy out there called Buster Beagle is his site, and he does some pretty cool stuff on YouTube with how to make a inexpensive injection molding machine. And then you have to get the molds, which is another step. But that's what I'm doing. I think if I could get to the point where I have more capacity and scalability, I could go onto Amazon and higher volume places. But it's funny how so many people are finding it on Etsy through Google search, and a lot of folks through the YouTube videos.
That works.
Yeah.
So that's it for me, man. What is let's wrap this up with your number one tip for anyone who wants to start their own 3D printing business.
Just do it. To find what you know and give it a shot. We were familiar with Etsy, like whatever. I took pictures with my cell phone on this bike sitting here, and a couple of days later we sold all the inventory we had.
That's so cool, man. See, that's the best.
Yes.
A lot of people are like, oh, I need a high professional camera to take these high, like, no, you don't. Oh, I need business cards. Who the fuck are you gonna give it to? You're selling online. I need to do an LLC. Like, I need a website. No, you don't
need a website. You don't need all that stuff. Crap. You don't need Shopify and stuff is cool.
A lot of people. Sorry, I'm gonna piss some people off when I say this. A lot of people want to play business.
Yeah,
you do. You just want to play business.
Yeah,
you don't want a real business. You just want to play. Right? Real business is when you're trading goods or services for or goods or services. That's it. It is a trade between two people.
That's right.
That is it.
That's right.
Service for a service, good for a good, service for a good. That's it.
And if you want to sell,
you have nothing.
You just have to think of something, find something that people need, put it together, make it as good quality as possible. It's funny because I've never done this before this. I've had people say in their reviews, very high quality print. And I'm like, well, that's funny, man, because I didn't know what I was doing when I started doing this.
Right.
I don't know what the difference between low quality and high quality. Now I do. But that's after a year of experience, But yeah, that's my best advice. Just go for it. Do it,
Jump.
Don't spend a ton of money. You don't have to.
Scaling too fast can. I talk about that in my workshop. Link for that is in the description below, by the way. So that's it. Dan, thank you so much for being here, man. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I know you're busy, so thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Later, man.